Hey, you, get a job. No, seriously, get a job. Cyberwork Hacks wants you to find the job of your dreams, and your guide to learning how to search for cybersecurity jobs is Professor Robert McMillen, one of Infosec Skills authors. Robert knows that there is a disconnect between the skills gap that guests espouse and the commenters who are still looking for their first job. But Robert has some actionable advice for you, and you absolutely do not want to miss this episode, no matter what level of job you're looking for. Please take copious notes, and please enjoy this week's Cyberwork Hack. Hello, and welcome to a new episode of Cyberwork Hacks. The purpose of this spinoff of our popular Cyberwork podcast is to take a single fundamental question and give you a quick, clear, and actionable solution. So for today's hack, I am happy to welcome back Professor Robert McMillen. Robert's done a couple of hacks with us, and he was a past guest on the Cyberwork podcast, and he's an instructor, and he's one of the creators of our Infosec Skills learning modules. And we'll talk about that a little bit more with him in just a little while here. But right now, our hack is going to concern getting your cybersecurity job hunt started. So whether it's you're right out of college, you're still in college, or maybe you're pivoting from another career entirely and you're getting into cybersecurity, it's the number one question we get on this podcast is, how do I get that job? How do I start looking for the job? So hoping we can help some people out today. So thanks for your time, Robert. It's always great to talk to you.
Thanks, Chris. Great to be here. And I have some actionable items for you today.
Yes. All right. We love actionable items around here. So Robert, one of the big challenges I've discovered in hosting this podcast for 6 years now is that there can be a big disconnect between the things that guests say on the show and the replies we get from listeners in the comment section. So our guests in this industry will tell listeners that there's this massive skills gap, that there are hundreds of thousands of cybersecurity jobs left unfilled because of a lack of qualified candidates. And we talk about how security is recession proof and has a very low unemployment rate and excellent career mobility, which is all true. But we also have listeners in the comments who will say, I have 3 certifications and I've sent my resume everywhere and I can't get an interview. So Robert, can you talk about this a bit? What's happening here if there's all these jobs and no one to fill them, combined with thousands of candidates who can't get their foot in the door?
Why is there low unemployment when no one can find a job?
Question for the ages. Yeah.
I hear you. Well, I'm going to give you some tips. Get ready. Get your notepad up. Get your pencil and paper if you're into that old fashioned stuff, and be ready to write down some of these steps because they could change your life, and I hope that they change your life for the better.
Love it.
So here's my step-by-step guide for getting a job. Now, I'm going to talk specifically about a job in cybersecurity, but even if you're just any IT career, that's fine, or any other career as well. Mm-hmm. All these different types of steps, will work generically. Now, just recall for a second, I've been an employee and I've been an employer, and I have hired a lot of people in a multi-million-dollar company. Now I'm an educator. So I'm going to use what I learned to help you out. Great. All right. So step 1, you're going to think this is a little bit backwards, but hear me out. Go to either LinkedIn.com or Indeed.com and start searching for your dream job. By now, you've been around long enough where you've got an idea of the kind of job you want. Now, you may have a couple of different, maybe 2 or 3 different ways you could go. You're not 100% sure. That's okay. Doesn't matter. Start out at LinkedIn.com, Indeed.com. I know there's a lot of other ones out there. There's Dice and there's Monster and things like that. And you can certainly use those if you get better success. But what you want to do is type in the location where you want to work, whether it's work from home or work in a city or whatever it is, and the job title that you want. And then start going through all the different employers and looking at all those postings and find out what they require you to have in order to get this job. Now, you can discount it if they say it's an entry-level job and you need 5 years experience. Don't even worry about that. Yeah. That's just HR speak.
That's HR's fault. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
People don't really understand, the way the world works. But the person who interviews you, who is technical, they're going to understand what it is. Mm-hmm. So they're going to tell you the types of certifications. They're going to tell you whether or not they prefer people with a degree and whether it's a 2, 4, or 6 year type of a degree. Do they expect you all the way to a master's, or is a 2 year degree enough? And then that gives you that roadmap you're looking for. It's all right there. They tell you exactly what they want. All right, step two. You now know your dream job or dream jobs that you're going to go for, and you now know what it is you need to attain to get those jobs. Now it's time to gain the education and the certifications that they want. What I suggest is, if you really need to work right away, is gain the minimal amount of certifications that a lot of these jobs are looking for. So that way, while you're working, you can continue going to school if that's possible for you. I realize that some people, it's not always possible. But you can gain those additional certifications, and it's possible your job might even pay for it. A lot of employers, I mean, they may require that you stick around for a while, but a lot of employers will say, "Hey, I'll pay for that degree. I'll pay for those certifications." I did that all the time. I didn't have a big enough business to pay for people, $80,000 bill for college, but I did pay for certifications, and I gave them a raise every time they attained one. So that's fantastic. And slowly work your way into the type of position you want. All right. Step 3. While getting educated, this is one of the most important things that you can do. Network. And I'm not talking about Ethernet. I'm not talking about Wi-Fi. I'm talking about networking with people at school. And start this in high school. It's if you're still in high school, start it here. Join a computer club. Start it there. Start at school. Local conferences. There's lots of conferences, that are going on around you all the time. Type in, cybersecurity conferences in my area, or whatever type of conference you're looking for. Workshops, vendor meetings, all different types of people are getting together, and they're talking about, like-minded, types of topics. Now, step 4, pay someone to help you create your resume. Because you're not going to necessarily know how to, maybe you can create a resume with Microsoft Word, the resume template. That's not good for every type of job. That's good for a certain type of job. I remember the first time I applied for a job to teach at a college, they called me back and they said, we really like your experience, everything, and all that kind of stuff, even though your resume was horrible. I'm like, resume is horrible?
Oh, no.
I'm an employer. I know the way resumes are supposed to be written. And they said, that might have been fine for the type of job people that you hire, but for a school, we expect a resume to be created a certain way. I was at a disadvantage, and I was like, wow, I had no idea. So you want to find someone who knows how to apply for the job, for the type of a job, and knows how to create the resume for you, and get a resume education from that person. Because what you're going to find is, after they help you create the resume, you're going to need to edit that a little bit every time you need to, apply for a different job. So you're going to be looking for certain keywords in that posting, and you're going to want to put some of those keywords into your resume in a way where it doesn't look like they were wedged in. It looks like it was natural. So get an education from that professional resume writer. I realize it might cost a few $100s. If you're going to school, they usually do that for free. So go talk to somebody at your school, your advisor, and see if they've got a resume, department that will help you create it. So there you go. 4 steps to getting a job.
No, that's great. And I think that's the networking part is extremely crucial. And I think, more than anything, outsource the creation of your resume, because boy, it's so stressful anyway. And then as soon as it doesn't get a reply, you immediately start getting in your own head about like, well, it's obviously my fault. I clearly don't have the skills, but it might just be that you don't know how to sing the song correctly.
You're right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
So, not to get negative here, but can you talk about some of the common mistakes you've seen with young professionals, how they search for and apply for security jobs that might keep them out of the eligibility pool? Or, if that's too strong a word, what are some tips to, sort of turn things around if it's not going the way you want it to?
Yeah, besides lack of networking, that's a big problem right there. Resumes are filtered using bots. So if you look at, when Indeed is a great way to see this, and LinkedIn has this too. When you go to apply for jobs, you'll see how many other people have applied for those jobs and what level of education they have. They may even say, what your area, in your area, X amount of people have applied. So what you're going to find is about 90% of all applications are coming from out of the country. They're coming from far away, hoping to get relocated. And employers know that, and if they're not interested in doing that, then you're really down. You're really in the top 10%, already. So as I mentioned before, keywords are important because of those artificial intelligence bots that are looking for specific keywords. So if they say, "Hey, I'm looking for someone who has a CCNA, or I'm looking for an OSCP, or whatever it is," and if you have that, make sure that that is prominently displayed. But look for some of the soft words that are in there, looking for a team player, looking for someone who is positive all the time, and those kinds of soft skills you can also add into your resume, and without them your resume seems fairly cold. First off, the bots will kick it, and if it gets past the bots, the HR people are going to kick it as well. One thing I found out that was interesting recently is that some people are putting their pictures on their resumes. Now, if you're doing just a blind submission, to a post, leave the pictures off, because bots can't see it and they'll automatically reject it if there's a picture on there, because they're like, there's a big black square on here. I don't know what that means. Gone. So don't put pictures on your resume. That's a problem. However, if you get an email address with a direct HR manager, that's okay. You can leave the picture on there. That's fine. So customize that resume for each one. And as I mentioned, you can hire someone as well.
Yeah, no, that's also really, really good advice. And I think it's real easy to get frustrated in those cases. And yeah, I think simpler is better when it comes to resumes. Gone are the days where a flowery, were when my illustrator, or just like graphic design is my passion style, resume with colored paper and lots of multiple font faces. Unless you're applying for a graphic design job, don't do that. Like you're going to be you're playing to robots, so make sure that you're giving them the information that they need. So yeah, that's all great advice. So one last thing, Robert McMillen, we are talking here because you have several skills learning paths on our Infosec Skills site. So can you tell our listeners a bit of what they can learn from you?
Yeah, and if I could back up just for a moment, a couple other things I just want to mention is employers also promote the zero trust principle of cybersecurity, even though they don't realize it. Yeah. They don't trust you because they don't know you. So trust takes time and effort. It's much easier to find a position if you have those networking skills. You may also want to start out by looking at a recruiting agency. There are local recruiting agencies, IT recruiting agencies in every major city in the country. So you may not have as good of experience as if you got hired directly, but hey, you'll get health benefits, you'll get a salary, and you'll get experience in the industry, and then you can move on later on. But as far as my learning paths go, we have multiple learning paths, starting with Windows Server 2019, Windows 10, and then also Windows 11 and Windows Server 2022. And guess what? I'm starting to play with Windows Server 2025. It's in Canary right now, which is, I think it's really funny. You've got alpha, beta, and then you got Canary.
Canary, yeah, okay.
So wow. I'm using the Canary version.
You're living in the future over there.
Yeah, it's one or two versions before the release to manufacturing. But it won't be long before we have Windows Server 2025, and I'm assuming Windows 12 as well. But for now, those learning paths are available. And they're really designed for corporate security, which is, the area that you're probably going to be most interested in.
Yeah, that's all great stuff. I've looked at it myself. I hope you all will check it out as well. So until next time, Professor Robert McMillen, thank you so much. This has been some really, really top quality career advice. So I appreciate it.
Oh, happy to help, Chris.
And thank you all for watching this episode. If you enjoyed this video and felt that it helped you, I hope you'll share it with your colleagues and on any forums that you're on and on your social media accounts. And don't forget to like and subscribe the Cyberwork Infosec YouTube page. You can just type in Cyberwork Infosec and you'll get to our page, and it'll be real easy to hit that subscribe and then hit the little bell. We'll let you know when you're getting new episodes popping up just like magic. So we got a couple more coming up with Professor McMillen here, and we've got lots of hacks for people at all different levels of learning and job acumen. And if you have any topics you want us to cover, whether it's digital forensics or pen testing or management or CISOs, just drop them in the comments. We'll answer them all, and we'll try to get to them all someday, hopefully very soon. But until then, this is Chris Senko signing off, saying see you next time and happy learning. Hey, if you're worried about choosing the right cybersecurity career, click here to see the 12 most in-demand cybersecurity roles. I asked experts working in the field how to get hired and how to do the work of these security roles so you can choose your study with confidence. I'll see you there.